Hello, old chaps, and welcome to Monsters of the Mind. My name is Dr. Henry Jekyll, and I'll be your host for the evening. Unless it's not evening where you are, in which case this is kind of a meaningless statement. Haha, you messed up again, you old windbag! Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monsters of the Mind. My name is Edward Hyde, and I'll be your co-host for the evening. Well, if you're wondering what happened to the previous host, he gave me hosting duties today, due to the fact that he's trying to calm down after last video. I'm seeing things I know that ain't. I painted this wall pink because I feel like this wall should be pink. I'm seeing shrimp colors. They look disgusting! Anyway, today I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit about my condition. You see, I am not actually a single individual, for I have to share this body with another chap. But, I can tell that you have already met him based on your reactions. So anyway, today we're talking about me, Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde is basically a fancy way of spelling the word Hyde, and, I'm an individual, I guess. Mr. Hyde, though, is pretty malevolent. I live in England, and we both come from the book The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Our story was written by the famous author Robert Louis Stevenson, whose other notable work is Treasure Island, which is probably the most influential pirate story ever made. And it was adapted into the greatest Disney movie ever. Don't at me! If you don't think Treasure Planet is a cinematic masterpiece, you don't deserve your head. I'm often described as being a very uncanny-looking individual. But do I look uncanny to you? I don't think so. Nobody can quite figure out what's wrong with me, but everyone agrees that there's just something off about me. I'm also described as being noticeably shorter than that old windbag, which, yeah, it's true, I guess. I am kind of on the short side, but hey, whatever. Who cares? I bet you're not taller than me. You want to measure up, tough guy? Yeah, let's go. Like most classic literary characters, the modern version of me is very different from how we were portrayed in our book. For example, I'm not actually the main character of this book. Rather, it was a friend of mine trying to figure out who Mr. Hyde is after witnessing him knock over a girl. Another thing to note is that in this book, the fact that me and Hyde are the same person is meant to be a plot twist. But since everybody knows that, nowadays every adaptation kinda has to do something else. Because, try tricking your audience with a plot twist that everyone already knows. Luckily, though, I don't think any studio would be stupid enough to do that. Why did I phrase it like that? I made it sound like I'm calling something out, but I legitimately don't know what I'm calling out here. Oh boy, Hyde, your turn. Also, sometimes I'm shown as a hulking monster, when as I said earlier, I'm just an uncanny-looking short man. I wish I was a hulking monster. In a nutshell, my story is about a good friend of mine trying to figure out who Mr. Hyde is and why I am so afraid of him. As time goes on, he grows more and more concerned about me, even to the point where he thinks that Hyde is threatening me. One day, he goes to investigate and finds me dead, having poisoned myself. Upon reading his suicide note, he finds out that Hyde was a potion-induced disguise used in order for me to get away with crimes without consequences. However, as time went on, he started emerging even without me taking the potion, which was really annoying. Shove it. And things started getting even worse when Hyde ended up killing somebody, therefore making Hyde a wanted man. Yeah, that's right, I killed him. I killed him in cold blood. If I could go back to that day, I would hop around in the blood some more. Maybe I could freeze-dry his blood and give it to orphans or something. That would be swell. Why are you so obsessed with violence, man? Don't blame me, it's just in my nature. You are literally me, though. Well, we had an abusive childhood. What are you talking about? Just move on. Okay. Anyway, I couldn't take it anymore. I ended up killing myself to end Hyde. Anyway, if you're wondering how I am telling you this story if I'm supposed to be dead, well, it's because one day, a man named Count Dracula ended up reviving me in a pool, saying that he wanted Mr. Hyde for a project of his. But I refused, saying that, yeah, he wanted me for a project for world domination where he gathered up a bunch of monsters in order to conquer Europe, but I told him that was small potatoes and he got kinda sad and he went off to sulk. So yeah, that's how I'm alive, baby! And now, let's look at this card that we have been given. Oh dear, this is not what Hyde looks like at all. This is not what I was aiming for at all when I was taking that potion. Yeah, the old man's right, I don't look like this. I wish I did. Except for the yellow raincoat. That's just stupid. I mean, why would anyone want to... I mean, who the heck wears a yellow raincoat? That's just stupid. Anyway, I guess this is fairly accurate to our story. So, yeah. I give this a rating. Ugh. I give this a 9 out of 10. I don't like giving out 10s out of 10s because it quite frankly lowers the self-esteem if they don't ever get a 10 out of 10 again, so lower scores are better for morality. Now, we have been featuring quite a few pieces of media, but I only want to highlight 2. Yeah, because he's a lazy piece of crap who refuses to do any actual research and instead just wants to stick to what's already famous. Though, an interesting story about one of my adaptations was the film known as The Janus Head, or something like that. What you need to know about this film is that it was an adaptation of my story, except that in order to keep the plot twist, every single character's name was changed, in order to hide it. Get it? Hyde? That wasn't funny at all. Anyway, this film ended up being lost because the guys who made it were a bunch of babies, and I guess they destroyed it or something, so yeah, no one can see this film anymore. Well, I can. I have a collection of every single lost film in the world, but you can't have it! And I was the direct inspiration for Marvel's big green guy, the Hulk. Yeah, they never paid us any royalties, though. I'm still waiting for the checks, Marvel. When are you gonna give me the checks? You want me to take you to court for copyright infringement? We're public domain characters, Hyde. Anyone can do whatever they want of us. Oh. Well, I'm still mad. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. That's all for this episode of Monsters of the Mind. Next time, your host will be back when he talks about a man who got disarmed. Literally. Bye. And remember to subscribe, or else you're in for it.